Okay, yeah, it's recording.
Okay, check your answers. Go through and see what you got right, what you got wrong, so we know exactly what we need to go over. Because I'm not going to have time to go over all 40. Okay, so we want to be able to pick out the ones that are the most important. So check your answers. Make sure that you know what you want to ask. And then we'll get started in just a second. Okay, I'm going to start with 31. Are y'all still looking? Yeah, okay. You ready? All right, let's start with 31. Okay. Okay, so on number 31, we know that QK is represented with that fraction, expression, actually an expression, and then we have also QL, okay? But those two things are not equivalent. They're not the same. This one's the entire line. This one's only part of the line. So we need to know what part of the line do we actually have, because it's not equal to the whole thing. Well, if you remember the rule that we learned, QL is double whatever LK is, okay? So if we allow LK to represent one part of the line, then this one has two parts of the line. So your total line, one part, two part, three equal parts. Does that make sense? Because this part is double whatever this is. So if this is 2, then this part is 4. 2 plus 2 plus 2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2, you have 3 equal parts of 2, giving you the full 6 units of that line. Does that make sense? Okay, so when we're writing this equation, what we're going to say is that QL, this portion here, is equal to 2/3 of the whole line. The whole line is broken into 3 parts. Well, this is equal to 2/3 of that. Make sense? Now, what is like totally messed everybody up all day today is the fractions, okay? So before I get too far and like work this out, you can convert these to decimals. Your answer is actually written as a decimal. So like this one is negative 1.2. This one is 1.4x minus 1.2. So if that makes your life easier and you a happier person, like it's okay, do that, okay? But probably most of you attempted to work this out with fractions, so I'm going to show the work with fractions. But just know that it's okay if you decide that you want to use the decimals, okay? Now with 2/3, that's going to be a repeater, like 0.6 repeating. So for the purpose of taking a test that's multiple choice, you could round that, but I would probably make it like 0.67 or 0.667. Like give yourself some extra space. Don't just say 0.7 because that's a pretty drastic round, whereas this is going to be a little bit easier to not have to round quite so much, okay? But I'm going to show you how to do it exactly. I feel like probably some of you have done that. So QL is negative 6/5 plus x equals 2/3 times QK, which is 7/5 x minus 6/5. Okay? Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do right here is distribute 2/3. By distributing 2/3, I'm multiplying fractions, so I'm going to multiply top, top, bottom, bottom. So 2 times 7 is 14, 3 times 5 is 15. So that's 14 over 15x. And then over here, when I multiply, that's going to be negative 11/15. Okay, that's the distributive property. Now I bring down the other side, just like that. Again, you can change this to decimals. What is 14 over 15 as a decimal? See, it's rounding. Okay, you'd have to round, so your answer is going to be approximate. So I'm not going to do that, but you could, okay, because your answer choices are going to be A, B, C, and D. So even if you round, you'll probably get close enough to be able to determine which one's which, okay? So what I am going to do, though, so that I can get the exact answer, is I'm going to get rid of the fractions. And I'm going to get rid of the fractions using the least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing, both sides, by 15, because that is the smallest number that I can use to simplify everyone. Okay, so when I multiply 15 times negative 6/5, if you don't want to do that in your head, just put in 15 times, open parentheses. Then you can put your fraction in there with a division, negative 6 divided by 5, close parentheses. Your calculator will read that as a fraction. Press enter, it gives you negative 18. Okay, 15 times x is just 15x. Bring down your equal sign. 15 times 14 over 15. If you're pretty good at simplifying, then you probably realize that just cancels out. Otherwise, type it in your calculator, and it's simply going to give you the 14, because the 15s are going to cancel out. One's multiplying 15, one's dividing 15. Those cancel out. Yeah. Right now, I'm mid-sentence. Wait till I finish this problem. So this is 14x. Then we have 15 times negative 12 over 15. Again, multiplying 15, dividing 15. Those are going to cancel each other out. Now, once we get to this point here, now we're back to easy. Okay. So this is just simple algebraic solving. So I'm going to start by subtracting 14x, which is just going to give me x, and I'm going to add 18, which gives me 6. Okay, now, okay, so that gives us that. We've got x equals 6. Now, from there, we're going to take that, and we are going to figure out the lengths of something, because your answer wants to know LK. But in order for us to find this little segment, we're going to have to figure it out based on someone else. So we either have the whole thing, which we could find and then just take 1/3 of that, or you could find the smaller piece and take half of that, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take QL, which I know QL is negative 6/5 plus x. So again, if that is causing you anxiety, with it being a fraction, make it a decimal, plug in 6. Again, if you do this on your calculator, open parentheses, negative 6 divided by 5, close parentheses, plus 6 gives you 4.8, which is fine, 4.8. And that's QL. Okay, so QL is 4.8. And then how would we get LK? We take half of that. What's half of 4.8? 2.4. Now, if you're just like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't understand. I'm not doing that. It's only one problem out of 40. Like, if you don't get that right, you can still make a 98%. Okay, like, it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't get that one problem. So don't let one problem, like, mess up your, like, weekend. It's literally one problem. Okay. Now, what else? Where do y'all want to start at? Just pop off questions. I'll just jump all over. It doesn't matter where we start or finish. Just go for it. Don't be lame like second hour and ask 2 questions. Number 25. Sure. Okay, 25. That's a good one. So on 25, they give us the exterior angle. Okay, so 116 degrees is the exterior angle. Well, the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the alternate interior angles. So 116 is going to equal the sum of these angles, not the alternate, the non-adjacent. That's the correct word. The non-adjacent, sorry y'all, the non-adjacent interior angles. Okay, so this one would be the adjacent. That's not what we're looking for. We have these two. So you just say 2x plus 15, that represents G in this case, plus 7x minus 7, that represents H. And then you solve it algebraically. So 2x and 7x is 9x, and then 15 minus 7 is 8. Then we subtract 8, so 108 equals 9x. We divide by 9. 108 divided by 9 is 12. Now, that's not your answer. That's just what x is. They want you to find g. Well, you take that g and you plug it in. 2 times 12 plus 15. So 2 times 12 is 24. 24 plus 15 is 39. I totally forgot you need to go to the bathroom. You can go. Just not in the middle of my sentence. What else? What's next? 13. This one's been one they ask all day long. Every class is asked 13. Okay, what you need to know, because yes, 13 will be like this one, but it probably won't be x equals negative 1. It will probably be something like that, but not exactly the same. So you need to know that if it's y equals a number, that is going to be a horizontal line. And if it's x equals a number, like the one that we have here, that's going to be a vertical line. That's something that students have a hard time memorizing for whatever reason, but you've got to know that, okay? So x equals negative 1, that's a vertical line that crosses through negative 1. Just like that. Okay, so from here, this is where you do your reflection. So step 1, identify the line of reflection. Okay, we identify the line of reflection, and then from there, you are going to do the actual reflection. So S is 2 units off of the line of reflection. So I need to go the opposite direction, which in this case is to the right, 2 units. So try not to look at everything else. Like, don't look at T and U, just look at S. Are those two things equal distance from the line of reflection? Yeah, then you've got your reflection. That is S. And we put that little tick mark at the top right there to show that that's the reflected. That's the image versus the pre-image. Then you look at T. T is 2 units off the line of reflection. So we go 2 units off the line of reflection in that direction. Okay, so if you look just at T, those two things are equal distance from the line of reflection. Now we do U. It's 1 unit off the line of reflection. So we go 1 unit the other way. Now, I know that it's weird or strange or whatever, that it's like flopped on top of itself, but it just is what it is. It's like us having like one of those like things that spins on a stick, like if you spin it or whatever, it's just reflecting around that stick is what's happening, okay? Well, your answer actually wants to know the coordinates. So the answer choice that you're looking for, we'll just say like, maybe it's C. We'll say S prime is at negative 1, 1, 2, oh no, not negative, positive 1, 4, negative 4. So you're looking for the one that has the correct ordered pairs. T is located at negative 3, negative 3. So it's going to list out the ordered pairs. You're looking for the one that has the correct ordered pairs. Does that make sense? Now what? Nobody? You don't have any questions? 28?
Can you do number 14?
Yes, we'll do 14 since we're here. That scared me to death. I did not realize that there was somebody in. Hey. Okay, y'all, so 14. Since we're here, let's do this one, and then I will go to 28 next, okay? On number 14, if we're looking at this, you can see that this one has your F prime, and this one has the original F. And if you look at just those two, you can see that they definitely have not been slid, because a slide would move the whole image left, the whole image right, up or down, which is not the case. This one has been flipped over like a pancake. Okay, so this one flipped to here, then E is there, H is there, so on. So what you're looking for is, yes, you know it's a flip, or better known as a reflection, but you have to actually figure out where it's reflected. Well, you split the distance. If we look at just the F's, okay, and we split that distance, this is a 2 unit distance, so we're going 1 unit in, that is where they are reflecting. And just like we talked about up here, this is a horizontal line. Horizontal lines are Y equals the number that it crosses through. So if we look at Y, it crosses at positive 1. So Y equals positive 1. Okay. Also, I'm here. Most other classes have asked about 15. This one is definitely not a reflection. Okay, it hasn't just been like flipped over a specific line, and it's also not a slide. But if you look at it, it does look like it's been kind of rotated. Okay, but rotated around what? Well, all the ones that we did in our geometry class were rotated around the origin, which same thing will be on your test. So if we look at the origin and we kind of connect it to one of the vertices, which I'm going to go to V on both of these. You can kind of see it as a fan right now, but if we extend it, that's going to really allow you to see like the fan. Like, so this would be one of the little pieces, and this would be one of the pieces. Everybody see the little fan? Okay, so if I could like punch a hole in my paper, I could spin it around that origin right there. Okay, well, how much of a spin does it take to go from here to there? Well, how much does it take to go from here all the way down here? That's 180. The full thing would be 180, which is why you have a straight line. So if you went this direction, you're right. It would be 270 degrees. But what if we went this way? 90 degrees what? That's right. And that's your answer, rotation. Rotation, 90 degrees, counterclockwise. Okay, Thomas, you said what, 28? Was it 28 or 29? 28. Okay, this one was confusing for a lot of people because we just did trapezoids. And so with trapezoids, like on number 38, you do top plus bottom divided by 2 equals the middle. So that was with the trapezoid, and that's what we've done most recent. So that's why I think a lot of people were kind of confused, because this one is very similar, but there is no top. Okay, so since there's no top, what you're just doing is you're taking the bottom, dividing that by 2, and then that's what's going to equal the middle. Or you could say, you know that the bottom, half of the bottom is going to equal the middle. But those two things are the same. Whether you say half of the bottom or you just take the bottom and divide it by 2, that's equal. Those are equal expressions. So I'm just going to go with this one. I'm going to take the bottom, which is x plus 18, divide that by 2, and set it equal to 24 plus 2x. Okay, now to get rid of the 2 on the bottom, since I can't divide everybody, I'm just going to multiply by 2 on both sides. So x plus 18 equals 48 plus 4x. Then you just solve. So I'm going to subtract 4x. That's negative 3x. Subtract 18. That gives me 30. Divide by negative 3. So x equals negative 10. Is it supposed to be negative? What's the answer key say? 28. Yeah, negative 10. So it like made me feel weird that it was negative, but it's just an x. X's can be negative or positive. It's not an actual distance. It's just the x. Yeah. What else? Yeah. 29. Okay, 29, we're talking about a median. Okay, so the median is a line that connects the vertex to the midpoint. So T, they don't have to tell you that T is the midpoint because they've told you we have a median. You know that T is the midpoint. So since you know that T is a midpoint, you know that those two segments are congruent. So you take what those two segments equal, and you just set them equal to each other. So 10x equals 11x minus 1. Solve by subtracting 11x. Negative 1x, or just negative x, equals negative 1. Divide by negative 1. X equals positive 1. Is that what it wants? Yeah, it wants x. I don't know how tricky this test maker is with stuff like that, but I know the ACT is. Like, if you think the answer is 1 and you stop, sometimes it will actually say, like, what is, you know, a specific measurement, or like they would have really been looking for what is TG or something, and you have to go back and plug back in. So make sure you're paying attention to that on this test, because I would hate for you to get it wrong just because you didn't actually answer the question. This one is similar, but they gave you IG, which is the whole thing, in comparison to TJ, which is only half of that. So what I would do is double TJ and set that equal to IJ. That's what I would do. 32. Okay, 32, is you have to actually draw the medians. So to draw a median, you connect the vertex to the midpoint. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is find the midpoints of each segment. Okay, now for the first segment that's horizontal, that one's pretty easy. We're going from 0 to 4, so the midpoint of that would just be 2. So you don't have to actually do the midpoint formula. You totally could if you wanted to, and it would give you the midpoint, but that one you can visually see, and then you connect the opposite vertex to the midpoint, like so. Now, one of the students yesterday when we were just working together, they totally just winged it. They said, if I look at this, it looks like the midpoint is about here, and then they connected it to H. And then for this one, they're like, it looks like the midpoint's there, and they connected that to I. And that's probably going to be fine. Okay, it's a multiple choice test, so you're going to be given answer choices. So you will definitely be able to kind of like eyeball which one's going to be the correct solution. But if you want to be certain for sure, then do the midpoint formula. So I is located at 4, 0. And J is located at -1, -6. So then you're doing your midpoint formula. You're saying 4 plus -1, which would just be 4 minus 1, divided by 2, comma, 0 plus -6, which would just be -6 divided by 2. So then you've got 3 over 2, which is 1.5, and -6 divided by 2, which is -3. So 1.5, -3, so I go from the origin to 1 in the middle, 1.5, down to -3 to get that point, and then I connect it to the opposite vertex, which is H. And that really is enough information. You're just looking for the centroid, which is where they're going to cross. So you can see they're going to cross at +1, -2. But if you wanted to finish it, you would find the midpoint. This one's located at 0, 0. So you would do 0 minus 1 divided by 2, 0 minus 6 divided by 2. That's going to be -1/2, which is -0.5, comma, -6 over 2, which is -3. So -1/2, -3 is there, and it connects to I. So now 100% sure it's right there. What else? (27), those two things are equal because your base angles are equal. So you just set 2x plus 13 equal to 29. This one over here, if this is 41, this has to be 41 because they're base angles. So you could say 41 plus x equals 180 because a triangle's inside angles have to equal 180. Anything on this next page? You know, these are supplementary. 37, those are supplementary, so you add them up, set them equal to 180. 36, these are equivalent, so you just set them equal to each other. How many degrees are in all quadrilaterals? 360. So you could add those up, take it away from 360. These two right here are supplementary. So you simply just add them, set them equal to 180. Anything else? Yeah, of course. Okay, 4 is your distance formula. That is something you will have to have memorized. The distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. If you got that memorized, you'll be fine. And then you just label them out, x1, y1, x2, y2. So you've got 0 minus -2, which would be +2. And -4 minus -7, which would be +7. All that's still underneath the radical. Then you add 0 plus 2, which is 2. 2 squared is 4. -4 plus 7 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So underneath my radical, I have 4 plus 9. 4 plus 9 is 13. I will tell you, if I remember right, the one on your test has to be simplified. Like, you get like the square root of 24, and you have to simplify that using 4 and 6. The square root of 4 is 2. 6 stays in the house. If all else fails and you can't figure that out, put them in your calculator. Take your calculator and say the square root of 24 is that decimal, and then take answer choice A or B or whatever, type it in, and see if they give you the same decimal. If they give you the same decimal, you know you have the right answer. simplify this, you're looking for a perfect square. So the reason I chose 4 times 6 is 4 is a perfect square. Like you wouldn't even want to use 12 times 2 because 12 is not a perfect square and neither is 2. So you've got to pick factors that are a perfect square. So like if we did like 48, well, that's kind of the same. Well, not really. Okay, 48 has 4 in there, but it also has 16. Isn't 16 a perfect square? So 48 divided by 16 is 3. And that's what you want to use. You want to use the largest factor that's perfect. So 16 times 3 gives you 48. Then you take the square root of 16. Well, it's perfect. So it's 4, comes out of the house. 3 is not perfect. It stays in the house. So when you simplify, you're looking for those perfect squares, like 4, 9, on and on. But this is a good trick, especially for the ACT. Just plug them in and match the answers. Anything else that I can help with? Everybody okay with everything else? All good? Okay, let me tell you what I've done to help you prepare. Tomorrow is kind of an optional day. You do have something to submit today on Canvas, so you'll want to log in and do your Canvas work. It's just like, I think you just have to rate yourself, where you're at, how prepared you feel. But for tomorrow, there's nothing that you have to get on and do, but I am having an optional Zoom from 10 to 11, okay? If nobody shows up, like, it's fine, but there's probably a couple people that may want a little bit of additional help. And some of you are more comfortable with small group setting. I can promise you there will probably be like 3 or 4 people in this Zoom meeting, so it will not be crazy. You can pop on at 10:15, ask your 2 questions, and pop off. It's not something that you have to stay on for the entire hour, but that will be the hour that I am available to work out problems and help you with that stuff. So I'll have it running whether anybody hops on or not. It'll be available. If you do pop on and you like don't see, well, obviously you won't see me, but I don't see you, just say like, hey, Ms. Hall, and I'll answer. Oh yes, I did put this key on your module. So that's there for you if you want to go back and check. And I also put an additional study guide, just like another version of the study guide, another 40 questions, and it's totally optional. No, you don't get bonus points. Like it's literally just something to help you if you need more practice. I know that some of you are wanting to make an A on this, so that will help you with that. Any other questions for me? Whatever you want. Okay, that's it. Anybody on the Zoom have questions? Nope, just us. Who stole a phone? Oh, did we do number 32? Yeah, we did.